What's up, fiends? Lucard here. It's the Midnight Society, and tonight we have Friday the 13th, Part 3. What's up, guys? It's in 3D.
Whoa, whoa! It's coming at me. It's coming at you. Oh. Oh,
What's
my
going
God.
on,
Those pumpkins are coming right at me.
Woo! Boy, this is a really interesting layout with these glasses on.
Whoa, check that out. Woo, man, you were looking frosty.
I'm groovy, baby. I'm groovy.
Ah.
Can't see a damn thing, but I'm groovy. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I wish I had kept my 3D glasses when I saw that. I saw it at the theater when it came out, and my eyes don't really work too well with the 3D. But I was able to. I was enough to see enough. It was pretty fun seeing. It was like my first 3D movie experience.
Yep.
Hey, Phil.
What's going on, Phil?
Phil's creepy vids.
There you go. It's your buddy Phil. That's right.
That's right. It's our horror buddy Phil here, not just our buddy, but our horror buddy Phil.
That's right. That's the best kind of buddies. Really.
That's right. He should say it's your buddy Phil and Marshmallow Man. But that's just me,
And Vanessa's here, of course.
Vanessa's here. That's right. That's right. This is Lucard. Has anybody picked up on your name yet? Has anybody noticed what your name really is yet?
Occasionally people realize what it is, but a lot of times I kind of have to tell them.
Oh. Yep. Hi, T. Betty.
Betty's in the house. Let's go.
Welcome to the Midnight Society. Sweet. Right. Those who can, if Phil's still here, I know he probably is already doing this, but Mr. Bones is here. Mr. Bones, you can see Mr. Bones past 500. He's now at 502.
Saw that.
I know. I'm very excited. Now he has to do that incubating period. When you get over 500, you have to stay over 500 for a week before they give you the community tab. Yeah, that sort of sucks. Star-Lord's in the house. Reading Star-Lord. June, hey.
Well, yeah.
Hi, everybody. I like Marshmallow. Yes, Phil likes the Marshmallow Man too. Believe me, he's got like 50. He's got like 50 versions of the Marshmallow Man in his collection.
Nice.
I think 50. Is it 50, Phil, or is it 60? Maybe 60.
Wow, I didn't know there were that many.
I didn't know either. He's got a whole shelf dedicated to him.
Have you watched anything else recently?
Yes, I watched one movie. God help me. So I watched one movie for I watched one movie for Dollar Tree Theater, which is going to be coming out next Tuesday morning. So I watched this movie called Pumpkins.
Okay, yeah.
Dollar Tree Theater. Oh, I personally thought when I put a Hornet up for my movie, I thought for sure that would be the worst movie I ever reviewed for Dollar Tree Theater, right?
Uh-huh.
I could not be more wrong.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, I never thought I would sit there. I would never thought I would sit there and say that an Asylum. There's somebody put out a movie worse than The Asylum, but they did.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. So I watched Pumpkins. Oh man, that movie is so bad. Oh Lord, have mercy. But I had fun with it because Hobbs and Katie were sitting there. Katie's sitting there going, I liked it. So we're poking fun at her. We're looking at her letterbox page last week because she had a letterbox page, and I said, okay, let me go see what Katie's letterbox page says. Okay, so Letterboxd has a 5-star system, 1 through 5.
Right.
But Katie's telling me she likes pumpkins. I'm like, come on, Katie, really? No, I liked it. Well, I go to her letterbox page to see it. Katie has only given it 2 stars. So I said, well, you gave it only 2 stars, Katie. You couldn't have liked it all that much. I mean, you didn't even give it 2.5 stars, which is average. You gave it
Right.
2 stars. Now we already know that Hobbs loved it because Hobbs is all things Halloween. He
Right.
is the pumpkin. He is the pumpkin king. So I did expect him to like it, and I wasn't disappointed. He but what else did I watch? Oh, I watched Five Shaolin Masters.
Okay. Is that an older one?
Yeah, Shaw
Okay.
Brothers.
Okay.
It
Sweet.
was okay. It was okay. It was, interesting. Not no story at all.
Well, you know, as long
But
as it's
then
good.
the kung fu was pretty good though.
Hey,
Um,
but you go into those movies.
yeah, yeah. You go to them knowing you want to see them kick ass, and they did do that. Hey Keith. Uh-oh. I think Al got froze by his oh. Nope, I'm still going. I'm still alive. Aren't I? Yep. Okay. I see myself. Uh yep. So Al got froze. So here we go. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're gonna wait till Al got unfrozen. Let it go. Let it go. Oh, okay. Uh I guess I'm now piloting the ship. I lost Al. Al, come back. Come back, Al. So how are you guys doing today? We're here to talk about Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. That's right. This is going to be fun and excitement galore. As soon as we get our co-pilot back. Yes. June picked that up. Yep, that's right. From Frozen. Let it go. Come back, Al. Come back, Shane. Shane, come back. Or for all you Batman fans to be shame. Come back, shame. Richard Brooker played Jason in this one. This is every movie it got a different Jason so far. Yeah. Jason got him. Jason killed him for his glasses. But don't worry, Al has protection. He has a secret weapon. So yeah, this is a really different type of watch, that was for sure. We'll get into that here, but it was different. Definitely interesting on a lot of different levels from the first two. Hey, Echo. No, Shane did not die. Shane rode off into the sunset. He killed Jack. He killed Jack Palance, and then rode off into the sunset. Yeah, we need to rescue Al. So I might have slipped some garlic into the stream or something like that, caused them to go poof. Uh, that's a good movie, though. Shane, that's a great movie. Yep. Not only did there's two movies I remember in that time period as 3D besides Friday the 13th. There was a movie called Coming at You, and there was another one called the Jaws 3D, Jaws 3D, with Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr., Bess Armstrong, and Simon McCorkindale. Oh, okay. Their internet is acting up. Wow. Holy cow. I might have to saddle up. Well, you guys will have to hang out with T Betty, the invisible Lucard. That's right. That's right. Oh, I forgot about that, Echo. That's right, Amityville 3D. That's right. Totally forgot about that. Hey, Drake, how are you doing, sir? Enjoyed you and your dad's deep dive on scanners last night. Highly recommend everybody go over there and give that a peek. Uh, I do believe we could probably drop off a link on that. Yeah, technology is fun. I wonder if this 3D went bad. Yeah, it definitely was. You're right, June. Yep, it was way too big. Excuse me. Those people trying to make the Amityville came across to yeah. Oh my gosh. Echo, there are probably if you type up Amityville in the international movie database, I want to say there's probably about 30 or more than 30 movies with the Amityville. Yes, I recommend that too. On Gore's first episode of the Gore Show, he did do the craft. Him and Drake did the craft, and then they bounced back and they did scanners. You know what? Scanners might have been a little rough there, but you know what? Still worthy. Still worthy. Still good. Still good. But of course, it's not. Both of them are going to pale when me and the cheetah invade the Gore Show next Saturday. We're coming for the tall man, aren't we? Aren't we? Are we coming for the tall man? Yeah. See, that's one thing. That's one thing they didn't have when the first Phantasm came out. They did not have the cheetah. That's right. Right on cue, kids. Right on cue. That's right. Tell them, cheetah. Uh, uh, he wants me to go. Instead of boy, he wants me to go meow. I'm not doing that. Don't make me do that. Silly. You're silly. You are silly today. We'll give Al a couple more minutes here. I hope he's able to come back. Yes, what? Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, he's back.
I made it.
Man, man, for a minute there, I thought Blade found you.
All right. Wow, that was awesome.
I said, oh my gosh, maybe Wesley Snipes found him.
Yeah. I got him right on the shelf.
Let's see. Echo says he came across Amityville Uprising and Amityville Scarecrow, both 2021 films, but both have nothing to do with Amityville. I think the Amityville Uprising is supposed to be, isn't it supposed to be in the town of Amityville?
I think so. I'm back on.
Uh, yes, you're back. Um, yeah, we're talking about the 3D movies that came out during that time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. See, once the cheetah popped up, then you
He,
popped.
he got me. He got me. I was taking the night off.
That's it. The co-host. You know, I don't want to. You know what? I bet you right now, if I said that the cheetah would be co-hosting the show with you, I bet everybody in the chat would really. They probably would applaud that. They would sit there and say, "Yeah, bring us the cheetah."
There you go.
We have internet. Yes.
Yeah. Hey,
Uh,
Echo.
yeah, man.
Anybody else I miss?
Wow, thank you guys all for showing. Thank you guys all for showing up. We appreciate your support. This is
Absolutely.
awesome. I'm blown away by this. This is so much fun.
Mr. Dan's here too.
What, Mr. Dan with horror? Hell
Yeah.
yeah!
How's it going, buddy?
Amityville Bigfoot looks nuts.
Yep. It does. That looks great. I can't.
Does it look fun? Does it look fun?
It
Is it?
looks awful. So yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah. Well, how about Amityville Island? Did you see that yet? On
No.
Wild Eye?
No.
I'm sure it's on Tubi.
I know there's Amityville in Space is coming.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I saw that. The House of Horrors celebrated that. They did that show with. They saluted Mark Polonia on
Oh yeah.
House of Horrors. Dude, that guy Mark Steven got like a whole cast of crazies on that show.
I saw that.
All the people that have starred in Mark Polonia movies.
I'm gonna have to watch that. Yeah.
That was an insane show. Yeah, that Amityville in Space absolutely looks bonkers. It sort of reminded me of where's Cal? He's probably on Instagram.
Yeah, Cal's
the last sighting of Cal was he was over in Instagram.
he's in the Instagram Krypton.
Yeah. Let's see.
Scan is lightly. Yeah. I can see that. Because Cronenberg is Cronenberg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cronenberg movies
awesome
have
movie.
a lot of different levels to it.
It really does. It's funny. It's like the biggest name in that movie actually is really Jennifer O'Neill, and she just really became. A lot of people forget that she was in it, but when that movie came out, it was the reason everybody said it was because she was in it, and after all these years later, the only thing people remember about that movie is besides David Cronenberg directing it is that was pretty much the coming out of Michael Ironside.
Right.
So he did do a slasher film, though. He did one called Visiting Hours with Lee Grant. And he didn't come across as, I don't know, it wasn't that well done, but that was like before Scanners, I think.
It was right around that time. Yeah, within a year or two, for sure.
Right.
Hey, if Jason can go to space, anything is possible. That's right.
Yeah, why not? I mean, Jason went to space. He didn't. His movie came out pretty good. It came out to be my personal favorite Friday the 13th. So who knows? Maybe this Amityville in Space will become my favorite Mark Polonia movie.
It's possible that he's gotten better.
You know what they say? Even a squirrel can sometimes find a nut. Maybe that's it. Maybe Mark Polonia has captured lightning in a bottle.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you know what though? I poke fun at his movies, and quite honestly, and not saying this with any sort of ego, but I poke fun of his movies, and rightfully so. But some movies have I don't know. I don't know. You know what? If a mega shark versus giant octopus could blow up, and why can't Amityville in space?
Right, exactly. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, we make fun of him, but you know what? He's still an active director, making a bunch of
yeah. And you know what though? I really liked gosh, when me and Steven we interviewed Jeff Kirkendale, one of Steven's second or third show, and we were talking to him, and he said that one of the things about working with Mark Polonia is his wife cooks a meal, and if you're on a Mark Polonia film, you'll at least eat a home cooked meal once. She invites everybody, all the cast and crew to come in, and she'll do like a big dinner for them all. And you know what? How could anybody not like somebody like who does that?
Right. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool. I like it. Yep.
Uh,
All right, so you wanna start talking about Friday 3?
yeah, I think so. I think it's what the people want to hear.
I think
The people
I,
want
I
to
think
hear.
everyone's waited long enough. With all the internet
Yeah.
problems,
Kick it off.
I blame the 3D from all my internet. I'm just saying, you know. Yeah. Karen's here. Hey, Karen.
Karen's here. Karen's here.
You you missed our my internet troubles.
That's right. How are you doing, Karen? Yeah, they need to do a Jason in Amityville. Freddy versus Jason.
In
Versus,
Amityville,
yeah,
in space.
Amityville. Yeah, in space.
I'm telling you, that's the next wave, man. That's the next wave.
Uh, so Friday the 13th, part 3. Wow. You know, it was really interesting. Is like the one thing right off the bat is whereas last movie picked up after 5 years after the first movie. This movie, and they picked up the same day,
Yep.
the same day as part 2 goes. And it's sort of funny in doing that. They already revealed their very. I mean, this movie sort of stumbled out of the gate with just that because you know they're coming up to Higgins Haven, and the mass murder already happened, and yet there is hardly any police presence.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I noticed. Is like here they are at Camp Crystal Lake. There's 8 people dead. The killer's loose, and yet there's not an army of cops out there. They're just they see they don't actually see any cop. We don't see any cops at all until a little bit later into the movie.
Yeah.
Hi, Tiffany. What I tell you what. Why don't you go ahead and lead it off with the opening, Al? Tell us what you thought about that.
All right, so it starts off, of course, with the replay of the ending of part 2, with her putting the sweater on. The whole like first 5 minutes of the movie is the ending of part 2. With one exception, they added a little tiny scene of Jason's legs like crawling away. I did notice that. That was not in the original ending. Then it fast forwards, I guess, a couple of minutes, and it goes to a newscast, and the newscast is talking about part 2, and they don't know if it's Jason or not. They just call him an axe wielding killer. That's what they call him. And we learn that Ginny survived, and there are 8 people dead. So we go to this little small store and cafe. I didn't catch the name of it because it was all blurry every time I saw it.
It was 3D. You had to watch it with the glasses on.
It might have been 3D. Yeah, wait. There we go. Now I can see it. Although I can't see any of my notes, but I can now see this. So anyway, this little place is run by Harold and Edna.
Yes, Harold and Edna. What perfect names for characters like that. Straight out of Bewitched.
I mean, they're straight up. They're Harold and Edna. Like, there's no question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. And let's see. Scoots away. Yeah, he does. He just kind of goes.
But we never found out what happened to Paul, though.
Never did.
No.
So he could. Well, it said 8 dead. So I never counted Paul as dead because we never see it. And if you go back and count, there's 8 dead without Paul. So I'm assuming Paul survived some kind of way.
Paul survived. Maybe you know what? Maybe they'll address that. Maybe they'll address that if they ever do pick it up. If they ever pick up Friday the 13th, maybe they can address that.
Yeah, it can be him 40 years later.
Hey, you know what? It worked for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Why can't it work for Friday the 13th?
Very true.
Paul comes back 45 years later.
and everybody's gonna be like, "Who the hell's Paul?" Probably. But okay, so in the beginning, at this little store that Harold and Edna run, Edna's like in the house part. She has like her hairs in rollers. He's Harold is up front, still kind of manning the store, and Jason appears within the sheets that she has hung up to dry. Very reminiscent of Michael Myers in the first Halloween.
Right.
So I thought that there's a lot of callbacks to other movies in this in part 3, and I have them listed. So when we hit it, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So of course, Jason doing his thing. Gets a nice meat cleaver and takes care of Harold.
There's one thing about this. When Jason came onto the scene, I don't think he was looking for confrontation because he was hurt. I think he was looking just to hide out. And
That's a good point.
he wanted fresh clothes, and I think if they just both would have like stayed in the house, I think they both would have survived. I think he would have got I would think he would have grabbed his clothes, and I think he would have left. I don't think he was looking for a confrontation. They just happened to push it, inadvertently, by coming out and exploring and investigating every single noise, and it sort of led to their own undoing by doing that, even though they didn't know it, because Jason was banged up after the second movie. So yeah, I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, I agree with that actually. So yeah, then after he takes care of Harold, poor Edna, who's little naggy Edna.
Little naggy Edna.
She's nagging on him the whole time.
He was. But what though? You know what? You can see how he sort of deserved it though, because here he is. He's running the store, and what does he do? He goes down the aisle of his merchandise, eating and drinking from it, and putting it back on the shelf.
That's true. Yeah. He was kind of a pig.
Yeah, he was sort of like, damn, that's sort of gross, Harold.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about Edna, well, the Edna kill, I should say, because of course she's going to die next. This was 1982, right? This movie came out in 82.
82.
Yeah. Okay, so Edna kind of backs up to a door with a window, and Jason's arm busts through, grabs her, and then stabs her with a knitting needle, I think it was.
Yeah,
with a knitting needle. But if you really watch it, that's the ending of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which came 2 years later.
When Freddy grabbed
the very last scare in the first Nightmare, he busts through the house window with the glove and grabs the mom
and pulls her through the doorway. Yeah.
So I thought that was really, really interesting, the way Edna died.
Yeah, she died pretty hard.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Oh yeah,
I think part of that too. Now I'm thinking about it. She sort of poking around because she saw the news report on the TV, and so and then she started seeing things. I don't know why, but to me it's like, you think that she would have been scared, she would have stayed in the house instead of pushing it outside, or call the cops at least, but she didn't do any of that. There was like they were just, and you wonder how far away they were on the lake. So you would think that they would have heard and saw all the police activity, because even if there was across the lake, you were going to hear that because of the mass response you would have gotten, right? So you would have heard all the noise, you would have heard all the commotion, and then seen that on the news. You, don't you think, most of the time you think, well, yeah, I'm going to batten down the hatches and go hide underneath the bed until something, till daylight anyway. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
but hey, Hobbs.
You would think, right?
Yeah, you would think. So yeah, Jason got his first clothes. He killed those two,
Yep.
and then our movie really sort of gets going with the rival of the well, not quite. We see well, we meet the kids. We meet the kids.
Mm-hmm.
The next batch.
Which all these kids seem a tiny bit older to me. Like
Yes.
they seem to be either in their late teens or early
20s. Except for Shelley. Shelley seemed like a teenager.
Yeah, right.
But the two potheads, yeah, they're definitely way older.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hanging out with all these kids.
As far and the rest of the kids they still seemed in college. They didn't seem in high school.
Yeah.
They looked all college age.
Yeah.
Except for Shelley.
Definitely a little bit older.
Yeah, and they're on their way to Higgins Haven, but they stop because Shelley got a blind date.
Yeah.
Because they were going out as all couples, so they wanted to get their friend a date. So that would be
Vera.
Yes, that would be Vera. I'm talking about the guy Andy. Andy got Shelley a blind date.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
So because Shelley was a prankster and they were trying to tell them to don't do that, just be yourself, don't do anything crazy or anything else like that. And but of course later on we find out that he can't help himself. So they do pick up Vera. At first, Vera's mom must have watched the news because she said that Vera's not going anywhere with you.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not going with them. And then she came out and she did go with them. But that's because they must have told her where they were going. And her mom said, oh, hell no. Thumbs up to her mom for doing that. But Vera was headstrong. So she was going to go out, this mom problem. So she grabs her stuff. And then they start heading to the van. And it looks like the van is going up in smoke.
Yeah. Literally.
And but it turns out it's going up in smoke Cheech and Chong style. because that's when we meet the potheads.
Now, is this the Friday they were going to do Cheech and Chong with?
I don't know. Were they supposed to do Cheech and Chong?
There was one of the Friday movies. They were going to do they were going to have Cheech and Chong in the movie, and it was going to be basically Cheech and Chong versus Jason. Now, I don't know if it was this one or a few years later. I don't know, but I assume it's this one since they have these two characters that are kind of reminiscent of them.
Very much so, because Cheech and Chong were in their heyday around this time right here.
Exactly, and I guess they had to deal with Paramount or something at the time. So, yeah.
It was funny because one of the comedy bits in the film, reminded me of Cheech and Chong, is when they started pulling away or on their way to Camp Crystal Lake, and then they're all smoking pot, and then the cops come in. Right, there's sirens coming from behind them, and so they're panicking. They're trying to get rid of the pot, and instead of just throwing it outside or whatnot, they're eating it. That was very much Cheech and Chong. Hey, Steven.
Yep. Yeah, that's great.
That was pretty funny. That was funny. And then they pulled over, and then the cops kept screaming on by. They kept on roaring on by. So there they are. They ate half their pot for the weekend.
That was pretty good. Did you notice what they called Vera's house?
No.
There's one little line, and one of them, I think Shelley asked, "Which house is it?" And I think Chris says it's the White House on the left, which to me might have been a slight callback to Last House on the Left.
Yeah, could be because Sean Cunningham had done the Last House on the Left.
Right. Yeah. So I just thought that was an interesting little nod,
Yeah.
if it indeed even was a nod.
That could be. I mean, why? Hobbs going puff puff pass.
or puff puff eat in this situation.
Yeah, it was more like puff 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 eat. So there they are. They're in a van full of marijuana smoke, and then they offer some to Debbie, but Debbie is she's not doing any because she lets out the fact that she's pregnant.
Yep. So we have our first pregnant person in a Friday the 13th.
Yes, our first pregnant person in the Friday the 13th. Yeah, that was a little bit surprising. I totally have forgotten about that. And, I'm sitting there going, like, oh, wow, okay. Now, I hadn't seen this movie for a long time, so I wasn't 100% sure what was going to happen to her character because I'm thinking, was there two final girls in this one or not? Because it wouldn't be unheard of because there has been Friday the 13th movies where there has been more than one final girl.
Right.
So I really wasn't quite sure if this is one of them because I'm thinking she's pregnant. There's no way they're going to do that to her. So I just said, okay, so let's see what happens.
But this is 1982, man. Anything can happen.
Yeah. Now, if this had been in the 70s, I would have said she was dead meat from the second I saw her because the 70s were just bleak as hell. But in the 80s, things were looking up. So I really wasn't quite sure. But it was, it's like, okay, she's pregnant. Wow, okay, that's a trip. So they roll out to Higgins Haven, and they pass the store, and what do we see?
What's that way? What part we're at?
They're on the way. They picked up Vera.
Okay.
They dodged the cops. They're driving down the Camp Crystal Lake. As they're driving down, we see that the cops are there at their store, picking up Harold and Edna.
Yeah, and Chris, our main character, is looking out the windows.
Right. Right. She's driving.
Which that kind of reminded me of Evil Dead. With Ash looking out the window.
I thought the bridge sort of reminded me of Evil Dead.
With that too, yeah.
Yeah.
That's later, but yeah, the bridge too. So then after that, they keep rolling, and then all of a sudden there's a dude laying in the middle of the street.
Yes.
Just sleeping. He's knocked out. He's just, and
he's fascinating.
So?
Yeah, he's fascinating because obviously since Crazy Ralph had bought the farm the last movie, I wonder if they counted Crazy Ralph as one of the 8.
I would imagine.
I would think so because he got killed on the property.
He did get killed on property, and we did see his body there. So yeah,
right.
I assume,
They had to stop. They had to stop for the old. I mean, she literally was not paying attention. But how could you blame her? She was fucking stoned.
Right. And,
the whole van was. She was high.
Yep. High as a kite by now. But yeah, so this guy ends up being the Crazy Ralph type character, the doomsayer, as we shall say.
But he was different. He was different because Jason gave him the eye. He engaged with the gentleman. He gave him the eye. He says, He told me this is for you, and to stay
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And it's like so Jason had actually encountered another human being and engaged with him and didn't kill him, but my question is, did he actually talk, or was the man just insane enough to imagine that he talked, or what? But it's crystal clear that one, he gave him the eye, and two, he didn't kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jason was using him as a warning to people. So if you pass this guy up, I'm gonna kill you.
Do you think that's what happened? Do you think he had the same relationship with Ralph in the first two movies, but then when Ralph came back the second time in the second movie to warn them, that maybe he broke Jason's trust and that caused Jason to kill him?
Hmm. Maybe so. Maybe so.
Because Ralph was, he was warning people too, and he felt totally comfortable in riding down that 20 miles to Camp Crystal Lake. He didn't
Right.
have any fear of riding the bicycle down there. And
It's
that goes
true.
back to, like, we think that he had encountered Jason, which is part of the reason why he was able to give out his warning. But I think when he came back again to warn the people, and warn the people of the second movie, I think maybe Jason saw that as a sign of mistrust, a broken trust, and he killed Ralph for that.
Yeah, he killed Ralph and gave this guy an eyeball. He's like, hey, I'll use you. I'll use you now.
Now, he is the first official known survivor of Jason.
Hmm. That didn't get attacked. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah, as
Uh,
far as we know, at least.
yep. Uh, oh, someone's saying, oh, someone's commented about someone being a newscaster in California.
Who's that? Is
Uh,
that Dana Kimmel or whatever her name is?
I think that was
No.
Tracy Savage, maybe.
Chris Savage. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Tracy
Wait,
Savage, him a journalist.
yeah.
Um,
Katie,
yeah,
say,
I saw that. I had some information about that too. Uh, I did a little poking around. Um, so now they roll up to Higgins Haven, uh, and they park the van, uh, but they're being watched, because our good friend Jason is, he's on the property as well. He's got to be sort of frustrated at this point. He's like, what does a brother got to do for a little peace and quiet around this lake?
mm-hmm.
Everywhere he goes, there's people there. You know, um, so he thought that he was going to be, left alone, and lo and behold, here comes a van full of people. And in fact, they weren't even the first ones there, because Paul had gotten there first.
Right.
And so they all roll up, and they all get out of the van, and they all run down to go swimming. And then uh, uh, Chris grabs her bags, and she's really on. Then we start seeing for the first time exactly how nervous and spooked she is. She's there, but she's sort of there, like, because she doesn't really want to be there, but she's sort of there anyway.
Yeah.
She's really jittery about it.
At this point we know that something had happened to her, but we don't know what.
Right. Now, they're trying to raise the stakes already with some red herrings. They did the spooky music. They did the spooky music. Because they thought, well, because Chris is looking around, she's looking at the house. She goes inside the house, and they're trying to ramp it up that Jason could be in the house already, but it's way too early for that. So we sort of know that there's no way she's going to see Jason this early into the movie. And lo and behold, we don't. We see her boyfriend, Paul. Now, Paul was very much like I'm not Paul, but God, Paul, Rick, I think, right?
Rick, yeah, Rick.
Rick. Okay. So we see Rick, but Rick and Paul could be twins. Both about the same size, both pretty well. They look like they could handle themselves. And
Yeah,
so we see them, and of course, Rick is just like Paul was in the first movie. He's hot. He's all hot and bothered already. As soon as he sees the girl, he wants to throw down the game.
yeah,
And and Chris is sitting there going, hey, like she's almost said the same thing as Ginny did in the first movie was, hey, get to know me again first. We haven't seen each other in a while.
yeah.
I'm just not gonna roll into the sack with you right away. That's not how it works. And I thought that was a little bit, very, very similar to part two.
Yes, definitely. And Paul drove a yellow Volkswagen.
Yes, very much like Ginny did.
Junior had the red one in part two. So yeah, I thought that was interesting too. So all this is happening right around the same, like right after
Yeah.
all the stuff in part two. So all this stuff's kind of happening again. So I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, this is what really threw me off was like, I'm thinking this is happening the right now, the day after. I couldn't help but just think that there'd just be such an overwhelming police presence, like
You would
they
think.
wouldn't let anybody in. They would be roadblocks out, like we got a dangerous felon right here. We're not gonna let anybody in until we know that the area is completely safe.
Yeah, and they're just like la la la.
Yeah. Nope,
Yeah,
nope. It's just like it was like Olay, let everybody come through. And then on top of that, the Harold and Edna, killed brutally. And you would think, okay, yeah, that's the same work as the same guy. You would think that even more so there'd be a police presence, but there's not. So,
yeah,
Paul gets there first. Um, and you can definitely tell that he's comfortable there. Him and Chris are comfortable with each other because he did get there first, which means he had a key to the cabin. So you definitely knew that they had more than just a passing history. They were more than just a boyfriend and girlfriend. They meant more to each other because he had a key to the place.
right.
Um,
They were too scared to look for Jason.
yeah.
Problem,
Uh,
yeah.
the rest of the gang was down there. Well, except for Shelly, they're down there going swimming. Um, so they come back to the van and the door is open and Chris is spooked again. It's like, didn't I just shut that door? I could have sworn I shut that door. And then we see, one of the potheads roll on out, which scares Chris. Chris is like, "Whoa, shit!" Because she's like by this time she's like almost like a rabbit. She's just like she wants to run at everything that goes bump in the night. And it costs a little, cost for me anyway. It cost me to have a little bit of tension. It was a little bit unsettling seeing her being so unsettled. You couldn't get really comfortable into the movie because she wasn't, you know,
Right.
and it was like, and that was a nice piece of direction right there. That was good storytelling because it caused that. You don't want to get totally comfortable. Like, okay, it's gonna be the same old, same old. Where's Jason at? No, you're going through her vicariously, and you're starting to look over your shoulder too. And I thought that was really, I thought it added nice tension to it.
Yeah, yeah. And then you also have Shelly acting fool and pretending to be whacked.
Yeah, yeah, that was just so obvious though. Like, as soon as he saw that, you knew, because he had the box in the van, and he's like, "What's in the box? What's in the
Yeah,
box?" And of course, he wasn't going to let anybody see his box. Basically, it was just a box of jokes, and it was just so obvious that when we saw that hadn't happened, Jason hadn't killed him or whatnot. Uh, uh, So yeah, he was just trying so hard. He was trying, he was just trying to be funny way too hard.
Yeah, yeah. So then, so at this point, Vera and Shelly end up going to the store down the street. They take Paul's Volkswagen, and at the store they run into these three biker people, and they kind of start giving them crap inside the store. So so Vera and Shelly leave and get back into the Volkswagen, and Shelly backs up into their bikes. So their bikes are all knocked over and stuff.
Well, we learned a little bit more inside the store about Vera, because they bought their food or whatnot, and Vera was reaching into her pocket for, it looked like, for some money or something like that, and then the girl from the counter said that we don't accept food stamps. And
right.
Vera
Yeah.
turned around and asked Shelly for for some money. So that sort of gives us an indication of Vera's family. They're sort of like, they were struggling. They were struggling. That's she didn't have very much money. Whatnot. I mean, and then the bikers, Fox, when Shelly threw her wallet, missed. Then Fox stepped on the wallet and made Vera ask for it really nice. And
Right.
Because they were going, and then the two guys went to grab Shelly, and they picked him up the ground. It looked like they were going to beat him up a little bit. So Vera said, she was like, she said whatever Fox told her to say. And then they got their stuff, and then then they came out, and then Vera said, you drive, because she was too mad.
Mm-hmm.
Shelly did that. He didn't mean to. He didn't mean to back it up, but it happened.
No.
He just built an accident. And then it was sort of funny. It was sort of funny though, is when he smiled at Ali.
Ali, yeah.
And then he smiled at him, and Ali smiling back. And then he walks over there and he punches the glass out of the car. Yeah.
In 3D.
Yeah. 3D in 3D. Yeah, that was pretty. That was like, damn. What did you expect that Ali? I don't know. It was funny the way they smiled at each other. It's like, what did you think he's gonna? Man, I don't even have glasses on. That still looks legit for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Hobbs saying Ali is the man. He tried. I gotta give him that. He did try.
He's definitely my favorite of the three bikers for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that was so fun. And so and then Shelly went ahead and then Shelly went ahead and he pulled forward after the glass, after the windshield, and then what did he do?
Then he punched the side too.
Yeah, and then so how does Shelly retaliate? This was pretty good.
You go.
Oh,
because I don't have that written down.
Okay. Shelly pulls out, and he's mad. For the first time we see him, he's mad. He says, screw that. So he turns around and he drives back, and he runs over Ali's motorcycle over the front wheel.
Oh, that's right. He's like, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So he ran over the front wheel, and then he took off, and then Ali's sitting there yelling at him, going, I'm going to get you guys. I'm going to get my revenge and whatnot. Personally, I don't know how he could have done that with a bent wheel, but that's just me. So Shelly gets back, and he and Vera, they look to bonded over that. And so now it looks like Shelly might have a shot. Pops. They're all throwing donuts and blood. Dodos. Well, you know what's funny? Actually, you know what's funny? I have to say this now that I saw this. There was a scene when Harold was walking, right, and he started eating donuts, and I thought about that. I'm like, oh my God, killer donuts are in the Friday the 13th movie.
Love it, love it, love it. It's awesome.
Because Edna came over, took the donut out of his hand, and saying, "The doctor said for you to lose weight, and you keep eating junk food." And then she left, and he grabbed another dodo. Okay. Anyway, thanks, Hobbs. So they go back to Higgins Haven. You know, everybody's going fine. Everybody's getting along. Having a good time and whatnot. Um, you know, uh, things are looking okay. But then some unwanted visitors come calling.
Yes.
And who was that?
The bikers come back. I don't know how they got there so quickly. It must have been.
I don't know either. That really perplexed me too, because it's like, for one thing, they went the opposite direction that they came into town in.
Yeah.
They were supposed to go straight, but then Shelley came around and went back the other way. He was driving away again, so it's like that's the last time they saw him, was he was driving the opposite way from where he came from. So how do they know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question.
GPS, man. GPS.
There you go. So the bikers show up and they start siphoning gas out of the van that they all arrived in.
Right.
And then Fox looks over and she notices the barn, which at this point, right when Shelley and Vera got back, we saw that Jason was hanging out at the barn.
Right.
Kind of in the background.
Yeah.
So now Fox, which is the female biker, she's like, I'm gonna go check out the barn. So she goes in there, and she's creeping around, blah blah blah, and then she falls, she trips over something. Her face goes right next to this pitchfork.
Yep.
And so she gets up, and Loco, which is the other biker, he goes in looking for her because he's like, where the hell's Fox? Blah, blah, blah. So he goes in and he's walking. He's like, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And he sees Jason. And as the camera turns, you see Fox is impaled in the neck with the pitchfork that she fell next to, and she's hanging on the wall of the barn. It's actually a really cool effect I thought that they did, hanging her there like that. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, we don't see Fox die, but we see the aftermath.
Yeah, we definitely.
And then Loco is stabbed in the stomach by Jason with another pitchfork.
So that sort of scene right there sort of reminded me of the scene from Psycho. The detective, as he came up the stairs.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And then Norman came out and just stabbed him, just like that sudden. He turned around and there's Jason right there, and he didn't have a chance to react at all. He was he turned around, and that was it. He was just, he got gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died pretty hard.
Yeah, Gore just made an interesting observation. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. Yep.
Yeah, he was obnoxious. He owed Rick a decent explanation.
Rick
he was pretty cocky. Yeah, you're right. He was definitely very cocky. She was out there Fox was swinging back and forth because they were getting ready to torch the barn, which was actually, again, it was sort of stupid if you think about it. Here we go. Again, it's like this is the day after part 2, massive police presence, and yet you're going to torch a barn in the middle of the day among that. It's just, you could definitely tell the story. You start seeing the holes in the story. I mean, small things are one thing, but massive holes like that, like, why would they do that? Why, to me, it would have been enough for them to siphon off the gas and then leave, because they would have been stranded. I don't understand the fact that they're going to turn around and have those guys in the middle of the day go ahead and torch the barn. How are they not going to get seen by that? But
Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah. And then, okay, so the cabin that all these people are staying at is like right across from the barn. So it's like, like the house across the street from you. That would be the barn.
Yeah.
Like, it's right there. Like,
Right.
Whatever. It's weird. So with Loco and Fox out of the way, Ali's like, well, where the hell are the other two? So Ali goes in, and so Ali starts to fight Jason, and he gets knocked down, and then we see Jason, like, it looks like he's hacking something off of Ali. So that's no more Ali. So
down goes Ali. Down goes Ali.
Yeah, down goes Ali, and then to me it looked like he was like hacking off his arm or something. But I don't know, because we never see what happened, so we just see it go, and that's it. So I did notice something about Rick's sweater though. The sweater Rick was wearing was very reminiscent of Mrs. Voorhees' sweater in part 1.
Yeah.
Same color, same texture. It was very close to Mrs. Voorhees' sweater. And that's what I'm calling her, because that is the only name that we know her by as of right now.
Right. I don't think. Yeah, we don't. I don't think we ever. I don't think. Did we ever find out what her first name was?
I think in one of them we do. Yeah, I'm not sure which one. Off the top of my head. Oh, we lost the cheetah now. I think Cheetah. I think Paladin. I think Paladin kicked off Patrick. We're just having a great day here at the Midnight Society. It's a fun night. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Mr. Bones likes horror. Do you? I never knew that, Bones. I had no idea, Bones, that you liked horror. So he was trying to show up. At least tougher than Chuck Norris. Yeah. And my mom likes Paladin's cameo there.
The crazy cheetah. Yeah, he knocked me off this time.
Yeah.
That was a 3D effect.
It was. Ooh. But see, it was my turn earlier. It was y'all's turn.
All right, keep going.
All right, so let's see, where are my ads? All right, so now it looks like everybody starts splitting off again. So let's see, Debbie and Andy split off. That's the pregnant girl and her boyfriend. Vera goes outside for fresh air, so she kind of denies Shelly.
Yeah, she puts up the gate. Yeah, she says, yeah, Shelly thought that he was going to be things were going to work out with Vera, but she's like put her finger on his lips and said no, but of course she's going to say no because they just barely know each other. But yeah. But she didn't deny him. She said, look, I'm going to go out for a walk, fresh air, and then when we come back, we'll talk.
Right.
And to me, that's exactly right. It's exactly right, because she wanted to get to know Shelly a little bit more. because as it turns out, she actually liked him.
Right, right. So yeah, who knew? But okay, so this is where, and then Chris and Rick, um, at this point, they left in the Volkswagen with the broken window, and we see them now at on the outside of a different cabin,
Right.
and 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 if you look, it looks like the Volkswagen has been fixed. The
Yeah, I
windows
wonder
are all.
what happened.
So I don't know if he went to town, got it fixed, or what, because this is a little bit later now. I think it's nighttime now. So anyway, so they're just kind of hanging out, and this is when Chris tells her story of
Yeah.
uh, of why she didn't want to come back in the first place to their to the family cabin. And apparently, 2 years prior, she was attacked by Let me. I have what she calls them. Let's see. By a she calls him a hideous man,
Right.
and she also calls him deformed. And so we kind of see uh, what happens while her face is on the screen, and it kind of fades into another scene. So both scenes are playing at the same time, so you don't really see either one. You kind of see both, and so we see Jason kind of come and grab her, and like get her legs and stuff. And I don't know. I got from her story that Jason uh, tried to do some inappropriate things with her.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
that
said she didn't know what happened. She
I
had the
I
fight
could
with
be
her.
reading into it. I don't know, but that's what I got out of that.
Yeah, it sort of led to believe that, didn't it?
Yeah,
Without saying
that was
so. But it's like she ran out because she had a fight with her parents. Her mom slapped her across the face, so she ran out. She was probably crying, so she ran, and then she fell asleep. She was on a tree. She was on a tree. Then she woke up, and then she heard noises, and then Jason and her had their encounter, and the fact that he grabbed her and then she passed out. Whether she fainted or it sounded like that's what it did. It sounds like she just straight out fainted.
Mhm.
But you're not really sure what Michael Myers did to her. Um, you're not even sure if he's capable of doing that. For one thing, like we're not even sure. Um, I got the impression that they're trying to lead that to, but then I thought, if he had done something like that, there would have been a lot more damage to her. I mean,
Right.
I think he would have really hurt her. I mean, like physically hurt her. And I think maybe he got spooked, because they're on it. She was still by the cabin, so maybe her dad and her mom coming out, maybe that spooked him enough that he left her alone. I mean, I don't think he assaulted her. Maybe the intent might have been there, but I don't think that he did. I think he scared the shit out of her for sure.
Because yeah, I mean that would kind of be out of character.
It would be out of character for him to assault her. I mean,
Yeah,
I
because
just didn't feel.
that's not what he does. You know what I
No,
mean?
he never showed. I mean, any sort of inclination, to save a girl for himself or to assault a girl. Every woman he came across, he killed. I mean,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
yeah, and you usually quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and painfully.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so I think he would have killed her that day, that first encounter, but he got scared off. So you know, which again is sort of a little bit perplexing because you know he's already killed. He's already killed. Because that happened after the first movie. The incident happened after the first movie.
Hmm.
Uh, in fact, it happened 3 years after the first movie. If you go with the five-year timeline, so
Right.
yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But they never really explained it because they had her passing out and not knowing anything would happen.
No. Right. So who knows? Yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking with all that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know either. It seemed like a little bit of a sort of writing themselves inside of a corner.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the I'll comment later on the script. Put it that way.
Okay.
All right. So after that like weird explanation, um, Chuck, who is the stoner guy that looks like Cheech and Chong,
Yeah.
he goes outside and he sees Jason go into the barn. He thinks it's Shelly. So he
Right.
goes over to the barn to go mess with him. And so yeah, so he's going to the barn, and then we cut to Vera hanging out on the pier. And all her feet are, she's sitting there, her feet are dangling by the water. She's just kind of just chilling. And all of a sudden, someone grabs her feet from under the water. And of course, she freaks out. She jumps. We don't know who it is yet. Of course, it ends up being crazy ass Shelly.
Yeah.
And he has the hockey mask on, the infamous hockey mask. So yeah, Shelly is the first person you see with Jason's hockey mask on. Not Jason, Shelly.
Shelly.
Which is pretty interesting. So yeah, so Shelly has all these different masks and makeup effects, and so like he's I guess he's an early version of Tommy Jarvis coming up later. But
I just had one observation about that whole scene though, and that was who in their right mind brings a damn wetsuit and a spear gun to a damn lake?
Shelly.
I mean, seriously. I mean, when he popped up with the spear gun, and I was like, okay, you're in the wrong movie because Jaws happened about 8 years ago,
Right.
or Jaws 3 was maybe got misplaced from Jaws 3D that came out in the next year, because he comes out with the spear gun and the wetsuit. I'm going like, okay, for one thing, it would have taken the whole movie 90 minutes of him trying to get into the wetsuit. Okay. much less grabbing a spear gun and going out to the lake. What was he gonna spear? Like bluegill or something? I was just totally perplexed by like, why are you wearing a wetsuit and have a damn spear gun at the lake? This is, there's no sharks in there.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that either.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Shelly pops out with the mask and the harpoon and in the wetsuit. And then he says, I did like this quote though. He says, "A beautiful girl like you should never go out in the dark alone."
That's right.
I thought that's actually a pretty cool quote. And that's very apropos for all these Friday the 13th movies, really. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll be right back.
And I'll be right back. Yeah, that too. If you watch so far in every movie, someone has said that in every one of these movies, which I thought was interesting too. So anyway, Vera kind of storms off mad, and then Shelly goes to the barn. So with Shelly out of the way, Vera is now by herself. So Vera's just kind of walking around, and she sees who she thinks is Shelly walk back because he has the hockey mask on and the harpoon gun.
Right.
So all of a sudden he starts aiming, and the harpoon gets shot right at Vera and gets her right in the eyeball.
Right eyeball.
It's like, and yeah, I don't. The makeup effects for this one was actually pretty good because I mean they had the arrow sticking out of this poor girl's eye, and she fell in and she falls back into the water.
Yeah, that was a really brutal kill.
That was probably the most brutal kill in this movie. I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was something.
Well, I thought there was one more that was worse. But go ahead.
There there may be. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see where am I at. All right, this is where my notes get smaller. All right. So after this part, we cut to I think we cut to Debbie and Andy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So Debbie and Andy just got it on, and Debbie decides to go take a shower, and Andy goes to get a beer. Andy in this one is the one that says, "I'll be right back."
Right.
So he all of a sudden he's I don't know if he's an acrobat or what, but so he decides to walk out of the room on his hands instead of his feet. So he's walking on his hands.
Yeah.
He goes and kind of scares Debbie in the shower, and he's all upside down and stuff. And she's like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I wanted to know if you wanted a beer." And she's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll take a beer." Why is she taking a beer if she's pregnant?
Yeah, I thought that too. Like, yeah.
I
And
was just like, what?
and this she has second thoughts about the beer.
Yes, she does. See, yeah. So I guess she didn't think it through, right?
Right.
Yeah. So all right. So anyway, so not Jason, Andy. Yeah. I love all these generic names. I can't. It's hard to keep up sometimes. But yeah. So Andy leaves the room. He's walking on his hands again, and we see Jason's body.
Yeah.
Kind of standing there in the hallway. So Andy's on his hands, so he can't really see what's going on. And this kill is
Brutal.
yeah. Okay. So this one is kind of this is probably the worst one.
Yeah.
So Jason takes his machete and slices him right through the legs.
Right through the junk.
Right. I mean, right all up in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
It was so bad. It was so bad that he couldn't even scream. That's one thing
Yeah.
I noticed too. Is like the kills in this one, if you notice, all the kills were so that no one could hear anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Very true.
He did Harold in the chest. He couldn't say anything because he was just Edna. He had covered her mouth and put the needle through her neck. Then they shot Vera through the eye. That was an instant kill. We eventually find out what he did to Shelley. I mean, he put the pitchfork through Fox's neck. Couldn't hear it. The one person that could have said anything, made any noise at all, probably would have been Local, but he didn't. He didn't cry out or anything. That's the only one.
He got it in the gut, so he probably,
Right.
I
thought that, because a gut is a really painful place to get hit. So you thought that at least he would have at least screamed, but he didn't. And then, of course, then we saw what happened to Andy. That was just so brutal that he didn't have a chance.
No, not even. So then Debbie, who's in the other room taking a shower, she gets out, and then she goes and lays down in the hammock, which is the bed in the room.
Right.
And then I did think this was funny. She opened up a copy of Fangoria magazine.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, good. Yeah, I saw that.
With Tom Savini on it.
Right.
And she was also reading an article about Godzilla.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that Godzilla. Yep.
Now, the really interesting thing, yeah, I'm a super nerd. I know all kind of weird facts. Okay, Tom Savini was born on November 3rd. Godzilla was also born on November 3rd in 1954. That's the day the first Godzilla movie came out in Japan. So
Wow.
I just thought that was a really cool
Easter.
connection between the two.
Yeah.
And the only other reason I really know that because my birthday is November 3rd as well.
Oh God! Look, you know what? Spooky.
So yeah, so I just thought that was a really funny coincidence. Yeah. So anyway, so Debbie's laying there reading about Godzilla. Um. And then all of a sudden she feels blood dripping on her,
Right.
and she looks up, and Jason's hand grabs her like this, and she gets a machete through the chest. Very
Yeah.
reminiscent of the Kevin Bacon kill in part 1.
Exactly. Now, you and I talked about this, and this is something we'll ask to chat about. So, what did you think of that kill of Debbie? I mean, I wasn't, until it happened, until I could definitely see it was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought there was some way she was going to survive that because, like I said, I hadn't seen this movie for a minute. So, and I just didn't think that they would kill a pregnant girl. I just thought that'd be sort of like a taboo, sort of like killing a kid.
Yeah.
Here comes a 5-year-old kid, and there's Jason slamming a machete through him. You just weren't going to see that on the big screen. You just weren't going to do that. I thought when I thought that the killing of the pregnant girl, I gotta admit, for the first time in the franchise, that was disturbing. I didn't really, I really didn't like that. I didn't like that. I didn't like that kill. I thought, I don't know why, it just really seemed wrong to me. But I'm sure what they were thinking about, they're pushing the envelope. Like, look what we're doing. We're cutting edge. We're going to kill the pregnant girl. I
Well,
didn't think. Yeah.
each sequel, is supposed to be crazier than the last, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean, what's crazier? Killing a pregnant lady. You know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it is pretty hardcore. Um, especially
The Star Lord. The kid was the fetus. She was pregnant.
the kid wasn't born yet.
Yeah, the kid wasn't born yet. Yeah, but he died right there with his mom. So yeah, that was rough. That was a rough kill. I'm actually thinking of. I'm trying to think of any other time where I've seen something like that before. And then I've seen movies since then where they've portrayed somebody cutting a baby out of somebody's womb, but for 1982 that was pretty damn cutting edge.
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is the original Last House on the Left, because I think she was pregnant too.
Hmm.
I think, if I remember correctly, it's been a while, but I think she was pregnant too.
But Debbie does die. She also dies a very fast but brutal death.
Yeah, it's just boom, and she's gone. So it's not. She doesn't suffer, at least, I guess. Yeah. It makes dying as a child. It makes him more of a villain. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, I mean, like they try to get you to feel sorry for Jason, like seeing his mom killed or whatnot, and and you sort of sympathize a little bit. But then in the second movie, sort of, that sort of really goes out the window because it's like, okay, maybe you can understand it in the first movie, or I guess in the second movie, maybe you can understand it in the second movie, but in the third movie, the way he's going around, he's killing everybody. You're right. He's losing that sympathetic luster. Now it's like, wow, you can't feel sorry for this guy. He's just a killing machine. He's a psychopath. And you know, the only thing you want to see him down. You want to see someone actually to stop him. Um, you know, but especially after that kill. After that, you're just sitting there going like, you know, someone needs to come up there and kick his ass.
Mhm.
Um, but go ahead.
All right. So after this part, let's see. Okay. So after this part, the electricity goes out.
Right.
That doesn't that always seem to happen too?
Yeah, it
That's a
happened. It
common
happened. It
occurrence in
happened.
these
Yeah.
movies already too. Yeah. So Chuck, the stoner guy, goes to check on the box. So stoner guy went into the barn. Apparently, nothing happened in the barn. He's okay. Um, so he goes to check on the box. Uh, okay. So after that, he leaves Chili alone. Chili is the other half of the Cheech and Chong group. This is the female. Um, he leaves Chili alone, and uh, she sees Shelly, and Shelly has his throat slit. But of course, she thinks it's one of his gags because that's what he does.
Right.
And well, this time, unfortunately, it was not a gag. Jason had slit his throat. I guess with the machete. We never saw it happen,
No.
which I think is a shame because since he gave Jason his mask, we don't even see his kill.
Right.
I thought that sucked.
It would have been nice seeing him like kill him, and then grab the mask and look at it like, oh, look at a new toy, and then put it on. It would have been cool to see him actually put it on for the first time.
Right, or something like that, you know. Um, but yeah, so now we cut back to Chuck, and Chuck is checking on the electrical box. He's trying to turn the power back on, and the ground is wet, and of course he's like this hippie stoner dude, so he doesn't have any shoes on. So he's walking through the puddles, okay, and so Jason throws him into the power box, and of course gets electrocuted. So we're now up to 9 kills in this movie with
Yeah.
Chuck, which I thought was interesting because I was like, wow, we're at 9 already. Because the previous two only had the first one had 9, and the last one had 8. So we're already at the same as part one.
Yep. Yep.
All right, let's see. All right, Hard Talk 84. How's it going? Part 3 is my least favorite. I will tell you later what my least favorite is. Part 3 is in my top 5. All right, interesting. Let's see. Jason finally acquires the yes. I know. I wish they would have made like a bigger. Well, they didn't know that the hockey mask was going to be a big deal.
No, they didn't.
They wanted to get rid of the sack because the sack they were like the sack just doesn't work.
Right.
Which I actually thought it did. I thought he looked creepy with that little one eye hanging out.
I thought it was effective.
Yeah,
You know,
I thought.
especially since you saw the one eye there. And if you look at the eye is, you know, it shows him thinking, he shows him feeling, you know, you can see emotion in his eye, you know.
Right.
So
So
yeah, I liked it.
yeah. So let's see. Oh, okay. That's Craig, Lily's dad. Sweet. Okay. Let's see. We love the mask so much, you made sure to get the same design.
Oh,
Nice.
hey
Nice.
Craig.
All right. So let's see where we're at. All right. So after Chuck gets electrocuted, um, the door swings open, and then Chili, the female stoner, uh, gets a nice hot poker right through her, and it's a nice little 3D effect, or at least what we can tell, it's a nice little 3D effect. It just goes boom, right to the camera. Now this being said, about the 3D effect, they kind of use it sparingly. overly done, except for a couple of times you can tell that the scene was completely made for the 3D.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. There are scenes right away. You know, the apples, the popcorn.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And some of the kills were 3D heavy, but it wasn't. Um, it wasn't. I don't think it was too obnoxious. At least.
No, no, no. I mean, one was had me questioning it. You know, it was like, okay, I know why they did it for. You know, I don't think the kill would have happened the same way if it wasn't for the 3D.
Mm-hmm.
But you definitely know it was done for 3D, which is fine. You know, it was surprising.
Yeah, yeah. So Cal does not like the sack.
Oh.
That's pretty funny. It's included. Maybe he thinks his killing spree is. I never thought of that. Maybe so. That's a good. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so let's see. All right, so after Chili gets it, Chris and Rick come back to the cabin, and they find that there's no power to the place, and everybody's like disappeared. So they're like, "Where is everybody?"
Right.
And so is this where? Let's see.
It was very much like the second movie where they split apart. They split into two. You know,
Mm-hmm.
half of the town for the party, and half of them stayed at the camp. And they did the same thing here. You know, they broke off the main couple. They left the camp as an excuse for Jason to raise havoc, and then those two are the last two. You know, very much like Paul and Jenny. It's the same. It's the same sort of ending for for Rick and Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. So they're looking around. They separate. Chris and Rick separate, and there's a point where I don't remember. She hears something. I think she hears something. So she goes. Chris goes outside to look and see what's going on, and off to the side of the cabin, we see Rick, but he is being held by Jason. And so Chris goes back in because she doesn't see anything. And then we get probably the best 3D effect in the movie. Jason takes Rick's head and just squishes it. And his eyeball shoots out at the camera. Boom. It's I can imagine it if the 3D would have been like, yeah. But
that definitely was the big kill for the 3D. But it sort of gives you really truly, I mean, we've already seen how strong Jason is already, but it really gives you an idea how really strong he is because they made it a point of showing where Rick was out in the barn and he was hauling up hay bundles. He was raising the hay to the second level. And he was lifting the hay bundles, and he lifted one with Chris on it. So he's strong. He's a strong kid. And the fact that he could not break Jason's grip, to get out of it. And again, no sound. Whether he wasn't able to raise a warning. Jason had him pinned, so he couldn't even slap the side of the house.
He was just like,
he was totally immobilized. And that shows you just how freakishly strong that he is because I don't think if and he took him by surprise because I think if they would have went nose to nose, I don't think Jason gets him quite so easily. But still, it was very impressive. Even back then, when you saw that, when he turned around and he crushed his head like that, and of course they made the eyeball pop out. It was a very impressive kill, for sure.
Now, the other thing that really gets me is that Jason is still all this powerful and stuff. Right after all this crap happened in part 2, all the fight with Ginny, all of that, and he's still this powerful.
Yeah, he's banged up still.
Yeah, so that I'm like, damn, this, like, yeah, he's starting to me, he's starting to become uh, less human and more
Yeah,
superhuman.
they decided they did start to ramp him up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, and now so all these kills that we're talking about right now, they all happen in pretty fast succession. It's like boom, 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 boom. They say it's really ramping up now.
Right.
Um, so let's all right. So Chris goes upstairs and finds the bathtub overflowing
Yeah, in blood.
with blood. Yeah. And it's she's like, "What's going on?" And all of a sudden, it gets super, super, super windy outside. Now, was it windy in the second one too?
Yeah, you got windy in the second
I
one,
think so.
and the first one.
Yeah. So yeah, the wind is a common occurrence too over in Crystal Lake.
But no rain this time.
Yeah, no rain. Although it looked like it was snowing, but I think it was like just leaves and stuff blowing.
Yeah.
I think is what it was. But if you looked at it, it kind of looked like it was snowing. So anyway, so okay, yeah. So it's super windy. I think the door flops open and stuff. She closes it, and then so she's just kind of standing there, and then Rick's body gets thrown through the window, and Jason kind of comes in afterwards, with his hockey mask on. So this was, I think this was like the real first time we really see Jason with full on hockey mask, like boom.
Right.
I'm pretty sure this was the first time. So Chris takes the knife out of Debbie's body because she sees Debbie's body is like hanging out right there. She takes that out and starts to fight off Jason.
Yes. Yeah, she went after him.
Yeah, she was pretty hardcore.
She was.
I know everybody likes Ginny a lot, and as do I. But Chris gives her a run for the money here. She fights back hardcore.
Really hardcore, and she quite honest, she fucks him up. she
does, man. She sticks that knife into Jason's leg. She's like, boom.
And you hear him. Now the first time you heard him, he acknowledged the pain. He articulated that he got hurt.
Yeah.
And when he fell down, he goes, ugh. He felt that. He wasn't subhuman yet. He wasn't quite that super villain that he was later. He still could be. He's a man. He bleeds. He can be hurt.
Yeah.
For Rocky IV. Thank you. So he's just a man.
Just a man.
Just a man. So
hit the one in the middle.
But she messes him up. I mean, she puts the knife into him, and he falls down, and he's already hurt anyway. But well, here, have a blade on me. So she does. She racks him up.
Yep. So then, after she gets him in the leg with the knife, she runs out to the van. And my wife and I, we were like, watch, the van's not going to start. Watch. So, oh no, the van starts up. She gets it going. Now remember earlier, the bikers siphoned the gas out of this van.
Right.
So there's not a whole lot of gas in this thing. So she gets it going. She's going, she's going down the road, and she gets upon the little bridge. And of course, it conks out on her on the bridge.
Right.
And let's see. So this is one of those like big old vans too. This isn't one of those little vans. This is a big old heavy van.
This is a makeout van.
Yeah, for sure. It fits a ton of people.
But the bikers didn't know though, and this was a cool touch, because like we're thinking the gas is out, and then she doesn't know that. Obviously, she doesn't know that, but there's a reserve tank on it, so she hits the reserve tank and fires up the van again.
Yes. Yeah, she fires it up again, and then the weight of this thing is too much for the bridge. So the van actually starts sinking because the bridge breaks.
Right.
No, I cannot read my handwriting. All right. So
Actually, Cal, Richard Brooker commented that Jason did not run. He said he did not. He didn't see Jason run at all. He's not a runner, and so he actually was. If you go back at it, he'll see he's walking at a fast clip, but he's not really running. He made a point of saying that he didn't see Jason as a runner at all. So that doesn't go. That doesn't jive well with the second movie where we did see him run. But because Jason was being played by different actors, they interpreted Jason how they thought that how he thought he would be, and so yeah, he was just a fast walking, but not a full out run. Yeah, I thought so too, but yeah, I looked at it again, and it did look like he was just hobbling. He was trying to catch her.
it was.
I don't think it. Yeah, I think if she would have got out and ran down the road, she would have outran him. He would not have caught her. But that's just
Yeah. All right. So after the van starts sinking, Chris jumps out, and then where does she run to? The barn. Of course, she runs to the damn barn. Um. So they kind of start fighting again, and she she's apparently she knows how to work stuff in the barn, and so this is their like summer home or whatever, right?
right.
So yeah, so she's real familiar with the barn and everything. So uh, her and Jason are kind of fighting in the barn, and then she gets the rope that is used to haul the hay up to the top. She gets the rope and hangs and puts the rope over Jason's neck.
Right. Nice touch.
And yeah, and then she like flings him out of the window. So Jason's now, he's hanging there.
Hanging there. Hanging around.
Really, really nice stunt effect, I thought. And it to me it looked pretty legit. Like it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
It really did.
And that's the second time. That's the second time that Chris has messed him up.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, yeah, you think it's over at this point. So she slowly opens the barn doors, and of course he's hanging right there, right when the barn doors open, and so he's hanging there with the hockey mask on and everything, and let's see. So of course, this is Jason. A silly little rope's not going to stop him.
No, might slow him down a little bit.
Yeah, it might slow him, but it's not going to stop him. So of course he comes back to life, and as he's getting the rope off of his neck, he lifts his mask off, and Chris sees who this guy is, and she's like, "It's you." So that's when we find out it was Jason that attacked her 2 years prior.
Yep.
And so he gets down, he goes after Chris, and then all of a sudden we have a surprise person show up by the name of Ali. Ali, the guy that we thought died earlier in the barn from Jason, who I thought was getting hacked up. That's what it looked like.
Right.
So Ali jumps back out and starts attacking Jason. But Jason's having none of it. He turns around, chops off Ali's hand, and we see the whole thing. We see the whole thing come off. So he kind of just throws Ali back. It was like, oh damn, man! I thought Ali was gonna get him.
Yeah. Down goes Ali again.
Down he goes for the count this time.
Yeah, and Jason makes sure this time.
Yeah. There's no way Ali's coming back now.
No.
Unfortunately, because he's one of my favorite characters in this movie. I don't know why. I just kind of
it's funny. It's like if you really think about it, I mean, all he had to do, again, I mean, what's sort of interesting about it, it speaks to his character, I think, because all he had to do was lay there. Because Jason thought he killed him. All
Right.
he had to do was just fucking lay there,
Yeah.
and he would have been saved. But he rose up to try to stop him, probably for his friends, but also to help Chris. I mean,
Right.
and it does, he did go out with a bang. He went out on a shield, that's for sure. He didn't lay there and just watch it happen to her. He tried to stop it. So, he started out as a slime bucket, but he went out a hero.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. So anyway, so after that, Chris and Jason start fighting again, and this is when Chris finally whacks Jason in the head with an axe. Boom, and so the axe is actually like sticking out of Jason's head,
Yeah.
and another really cool effect because you see it go into Jason's head, and of course it was dummy or whatever, but still it looked pretty good. I thought
It looked great. And
Yeah.
she went to work on him, man. She definitely she messed his world up.
She messed, man. Yeah, and then of course it went through the top of the hockey mask too. So
Right.
it's standing, it's in his head, and so he's like doing this kind of like a Frankenstein, for like a second, and then he falls down, but he's totally doing the Frankenstein walk. Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty cool how he did that. Yeah, as soon as he got stuck, it's almost like motor control. Like
He's like,
it was like it's like he couldn't help himself but do that.
yeah, yeah.
But like yeah, it was a cool effect. It was really cool how they played that.
Yeah, and I wish I would have wore these and actually watched it in 3D. Maybe
Oh.
next time I watch it, I'm gonna try to watch it in 3D. But yeah. So all right. So Jason is now he's laying there. He's motionless. Okay. So theoretically, he's dead.
Right. Yeah. 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 He is. Yeah. He is.
Yeah. So do you want to cover the ending?
Yeah. So after Chris puts the axe in Jason's head, of course she does the same thing Alice does in the first movie. She gets in the canoe and she starts paddling out toward the water, and she passes out, and then she starts dreaming, like she sees Jason in the upper floor of the house, and he doesn't have the hockey mask on, it's just his face and it's covered with blood, and she sees him and he sees her, and she begins to panic, like he's still alive, and sure enough, here he comes. He's coming out toward her, and she's panicking. She looks over her shoulder, and he's coming out of the house, and it looks like he's going to come at her. And then when she looks away to clear off some debris, she looks back, and he's not there. And she's looking around, and as she does, all of a sudden, out of the water comes Mrs. Voorhees. It's just it's a trilogy, so it's a homage to the first movie. It's the same scene that from the first one. Jason died. Jason came back. Now Mrs. Voorhees comes back. Of course, this bad dream. Her sanity has already been pushed to the brink already, and this pretty much results in a break. And so when the police do come, poor Chris is absolutely she's lost it. She's lost the farm. She's lost her mind. And who's to blame her? I mean, I don't know very many people who could actually walk through that and still come out on the other side sane. So, here comes the police again. And again, it's only two cops. Again, it's like, okay, so now you have 10. Now you have another 9. Now you got 19 people dead in one night in a small community. You would think that they would turn out the National Guard for something like that, like, all right, like, what the hell?
Yep.
So, they take Chris away. She's laughing, put her in the cop car. Hell, they don't even wait for the ambulance. They're going like, let's just scoop and run. And so then we see the last scene of the film. Next to the last scene of the film, we see Jason in the barn. Jason is dead. I mean, he's not moving. There's no finger there. Yeah. There's no finger moving. There's no twitching of the feet.
No movement, nothing.
No movement at all. And you can see where he got messed up. He got stabbed. He got popped in the head with a log. He got nailed in the head with an axe. He's toast. And then they go back, and the last scene of the movie is the lake, just like in the first movie. They show the lake, and again they show a bubble in the lake. But this time it didn't really mean anything. It didn't have that same connotation as the first one because there's nothing to come back to. But so that's how they ended the movie. And there's there's some pluses and some cons for this one. A lot of good fun facts here. Yeah, I mean, I saw Keith was mentioning about the final girl, what makes the final girl, and I got to give him this. I mean, I think Chris is a better final girl, but I will have to say this, that Amy Steele, yes, is a better actor, but it wasn't because Dana Kimmel wasn't a good actress either, because at that time Dana Kimmel actually had more credits to her name when she did Friday the 13th than Amy Steele did when she did her role as Jenny in Friday the 13th. Dana Kimmel was the only one that actually had a career at that time. She appeared on a lot of TV and a lot of movies by this time.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So what happened was when they went to do the movie in 3D, this movie took a lot of time to film, a lot of time. And they, because it was revolutionary, what they were doing. And so it took forever for them to set up shots and whatnot. And what happened was while they were doing that, there was really no directing the actors. The actors were pretty much left on their own, which is why we get sort of weak performances. The acting's not all that good. Some of them are brand new. The guy who played Rick, that was his very first role. That was his very first role. Shelley didn't have very many. Shelley didn't have very many credits at the time. Nobody really did. Let's see. At that time, let's see. Yeah, nobody really had a lot of credits at that time. Tracy Savage worked a lot when she was younger. When she wrote into Friday the 13th, she had a lot of credits underneath her belt. And of course, this always happens too. The Friday the 13th acting bug hit again. And that was after the movie was over with. A lot of these actors, that was their last big role. They didn't work all that much further. Some worked sporadically, but it seemed like as soon as they did Friday the 13th, their careers generally slowed down or just ended. Shelley was cute. Shelley wasn't that obnoxious. He just needed to have a little bit more confidence in himself. I mean, Vera told him that she liked him. And if he just would have relaxed a little bit, who knows? I mean, in a different movie, they might have hooked up.
I do find for me, Shelley was the most likable of the kind of prankster people of all these movies. He's the most likable.
Yeah, they always had one prankster every movie. I'm the prankster. It's like, oh, come on. And you know what? Not every single movie needs to have a prankster.
Well,
Or an oddball.
I mean, at this point, I mean, they really were just playing to the stereotypes at this point. There was always kind of like the jock, the prankster, or the nerd, or they, if you really want, they all of them have it, especially in these early movies.
So the acting, the directing, Steve Miner, who directed this film, he was a good director, but it did appear that he was more concerned with the 3D than with the acting.
Yeah, and my biggest gripe with part 3 is the acting.
Yeah.
Well,
my biggest complaint with the third one was the killing of Debbie. That was my biggest complaint.
The other problem I had with this one was really all the plot holes and stuff we were talking about earlier. Like the script really could have been better.
Yeah, a lot more.
I thought. So for me, the negatives are the script and the acting.
Yeah. I thought the gore and the kills were on point. I mean, they stand up to any kill in the franchise. Yeah. There were some really brutal kills here. All the way through, and she wouldn't have died so quick either. That's the thing. He stabbed her through there with a hot poker. She wouldn't have just died she would have suffered a great deal. That and the Vera with the arrow in the eye. Rick having his head squished like a watermelon. I mean, holy crow! I mean, these guys all died hard.
Yeah.
Pardons to Bruce Willis, but yeah, they all died hard. In part 3, the 3D effects, they were okay. They weren't overwhelmingly successful, but they made their point. Like I said, I remember seeing it at the theater, and when Rick got his head popped and the eyeball popped out, everybody screamed. so it did work.
Yeah.
The movie made opened up huge. It opened up with it made over 30 million. It made almost $37 million. When it opened up, it was doing so well. It was doing so well that they ran out of 3D glasses, and Paramount had to contact Sony to have them to make a rush order of glasses to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah, so that was really cool. So it looked like the 3D, I'm sure to Hollywood they saw that as a success, and I think that's probably a reason why they went forward to do Jaws 3D. I'm not sure when Amityville 3D came out, but I know Jaws 3D came out in, I think, 83 or 84. It came out after part 3.
I want to say Amityville was 83 too. 82 or 83, yeah.
Okay. So, so there was that. It was just, I definitely say it was the weakest of the 3. Other than Chris. I think Chris was my, up to this point, Chris has been my favorite character.
Really?
Yeah, I just love. Yeah, I thought she did fine acting wise. Her acting was fine. And she got a ton of offense in on Jason, and she hurt him more than anybody at this point so far in the series.
Yeah, I can see that. My personal feelings is I like Ginny better. I liked her better as a character, and she's definitely a stronger actress. And her approach to fighting Jason, I think I appreciated because it was a little more mental.
Yeah.
Physical. So that was a different aspect to it. But Chris was a badass. I'm not gonna say she wasn't, because she was. I mean, she was like, oh really, you son of a, and she went after him. So but yeah, I still like Jenny, but yeah, Chris is definitely up there, definitely as a good counterpart to Jason.
You know, the only thing that really frustrated me too is you sit there and you see like that scene with Ollie, right? So they're in the barn. Ollie comes up there and Jason not only takes his hand, but then he turns around and gives him like 10 or 12 whacks with the machete, right?
Mm-hmm.
My always burning question was, okay, you put an axe in his head. You put his axe in the head. He falls down. Why the hell aren't you not taking that axe, pulling that out of his head, and fucking doing what he did to him? Like give him
Right.
12 whacks. Everybody hits Jason once and that's it. Like, oh, okay, I knocked him down. It's like, why don't you, like, if that was me, I'm gonna be sitting there like, they're gonna need DNA. They're gonna need dental records to find out who this guy is because I'm going to town. I don't want that guy getting up at all.
Right.
I'm gonna take the axe and become Lizzie Borden. 44 whacks and one more for good. For good measure.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so yeah, that's what I would do. So they got that. The plot holes in the movie were really huge for me in this one. Things that they should have done. I'm sure budget played into it. Most of the budget for this movie obviously went to the effects.
3D, right?
Yeah. The movie cost $2.2 million to make. It made 36.7 on the return. And shockingly, the critics didn't like this movie.
Oh no.
Yeah, they didn't like it. They didn't like it. I don't know why. And Paramount said, we're not going to show the movie to critics. It's like, well, yeah, okay, it makes sense to me. But it was critically panned, and it's like, I don't really know. I don't really know any Friday the 13th movie that actually got any positive reviews. I think they all got like, I think all the mainstream press are going like, what the hell, And of course, the parents are upset. Though this movie did have more gore allowed than the first two movies.
Yeah.
If you notice that.
Yeah.
There was more gore in this movie than there was in the first two.
Which is interesting because
Yeah.
you wouldn't think with all the trouble Part 2 had.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they were not afraid to show it.
So do we want to talk about the alternate ending real quick before we get off?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So the alternate ending, and if you look on YouTube, there's an 11-second clip in like real stark black and white. You can barely see it, but there are a couple of clips, and it's 11 seconds long. It's on YouTube. Check it out if you haven't. Basically, Jason comes out of the cabin and grabs Chris and machetes her head off, like Alice did to Mrs. Voorhees in Part 1. Now, the soundtrack that I have the Waxwork soundtrack. If you can't tell on the screen, but it actually has a 3D cover on it, which is pretty cool. And the gatefold actually has the scene in it. So see how Jason.
Yeah, they filmed three alternative endings, and the second alternative ending they had was that Ali came by and got up and helped Chris kill Jason. Ali was going to survive. Yeah, Ali was going to survive. He was going to get up and kill Jason, and they were going to survive together.
Now I would have liked that.
That would have actually been cool. Yeah. But it was like one of the things. It was supposed to be the last movie. This was supposed to be the last movie. They said, and Steve Miner and the writer of the movie, they actually came up there and said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we decapitate Jason? And the Paramount's like, well, this is supposed to be the last movie, but we don't necessarily want to, that's too definitive. That's too much of a closure, because they're hedging their bets. And And luckily for them, it paid off because Friday the 13th Part 3 did much better than Part 2 at the box office.
Yeah.
Um, Someone mentioned earlier in the chat about the intro, the disco intro of the first of the movie. It did.
Yeah.
It had a really weird entry theme song.
And if you go to my Instagram page, I have a story up about our live stream right here, and I actually have that song playing in the background. So if you want to hear it, go to my Instagram stories.
Yeah, Richard Brooker definitely played a very strong Jason.
I would,
He
yes.
I'm just curious. I wonder what he did too. I didn't look at that. I could be wrong. I'm sure he was probably mostly stuntman though. But I
I
thought Richard
believe
Brooker played. I mean, he definitely gave him a very human side. Like he was not afraid to show Jason being hurt and Jason in pain and whatnot. Uh, Richard Brooker did not work very much after that. He did 4 movies. He did four things. He had an appearance in a movie called Deathstalker. He appeared in an episode of Trapper John M.D., and then he did a movie called Deep Sea Conspiracy. So, again, appearing in a Friday the 13th movie for a lot of these actors was actually a career killer. It just
yeah,
didn't really, they just really never did anything else after that.
yeah, which is it's kind of well, I guess maybe not in this one because the acting was kind of crappy, but yeah, I'm surprised Amy Steele didn't like just blow up completely.
Well, she tried. She did work
She
after that.
did.
She did.
She
She
did.
had a series. She did a series, the Powers of Matthew Starr, with Peter
Oh, I forgot
Barton
she was in that. Yeah. I forgot she was in that.
and Louis Gossett Jr. And that was after Louis Gossett Jr.'s. I do believe that was after his Oscar win. I think he did that series after the Oscar win. I don't know. Every time I think of Louis Gossett Jr., I always think of 2 things. I think of Officer and Gentleman and Iron Eagle.
Iron Eagle.
Jap-
All
Jappy
four. He's been
Sinclair.
all 4 Iron Eagles.
Jappy Sinclair. Hell yeah,
Yep.
man. Man, if I had all 4 of those, we'd be talking about those. Um,
There
yeah.
you go.
Um,
Funny.
so let's see what else I have here. I wrote a couple of things down here. Uh, oh boy.
I know mine's so scribbly. I'm that's why I'm staring at it the whole time. I'm like, what does that say?
Yeah, what? I thought the pacing was really good too. This movie actually moved along at a pretty good clip. I thought the pacing was pretty good.
It actually did move a little bit better than I remember because usually when I watch the series, this is one I usually skip because I don't care for it all that much. I mean, it's okay, and I do appreciate it a little more now since we're doing these deep dives into them. But yeah, this was typically one I skipped because I don't know, I found it kind of blah overall, and I think that has to do with the acting a lot of
Yeah,
the time.
the acting's not the strongest. I agree.
Yeah.
So what's next what's next week? Next week is part 4.
So next week
This is
we
this
got
is when
part
the
four.
Fell Dog comes, right?
It's the one with the Fell Dog. Yep, Corey Feldman
Oh, the
makes his
comeback
first
king.
appearance. The Fell Dog's first appearance on the Midnight Society.
That's right. The comeback king.
Yeah. Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen that video yet, go type that in. Come back in. Corey Feldman.
You know what? I actually saw another clip. Someone took a clip of him doing the song at a nightclub on the strip, on the LA strip. And you know what? It actually wasn't bad live. Live it seemed a lot more down to earth. That video, the other video, the video was just terrible. But the live version of the song was actually pretty good. I liked the live version. I liked the live version a lot better. I was like, okay, I can handle that.
Yeah.
So this will be the Fell Dogs' first appearance, and we're looking forward to that. You are hosting once again for that.
Yes, it'll be on my channel again next week. So part 4 should be a hoot.
It should be a hoot. This would be, I know for a lot of people, this is their favorite. So I suspect we'll see a big crowd to come on in. I'm looking forward to that. Then you guys come back out, and I'm actually surprised Jennifer Tochi's not here, but I know she'll be here next Sunday because whenever there's a Fell Dog, there's a Tochi.
Yeah.
So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, she'll definitely be here next week, I'm sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
So what do you got planned for this week for your channel, sir?
This week, tomorrow, I am dropping a video that I've already done. It's a Dollar Tree haul. Yeah, I actually found some stuff at Dollar Tree for a change. And Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, me, Jeff from the GCAP Recap, Ryan from Retro Radical Rewind, and Joey V from Action Smacks, and Dr. V from Dr. V's B Movie Snacks, both on the B Zone Roku channel. We all will be getting together and doing a big deep dive on the wonderful action classic Champagne and Bullets.
Champagne and Bullets.
Now, if you have not seen Champagne and Bullets, I highly recommend it. It's one of the worst movies ever made. It's right up there with The Room and Troll 2.
What about Bible Man?
Jeff, GCAP did Bible Man last week. So if you want to watch a good, a very funny live stream from last week, him and his crew did Bible Man, which is a TV series. It was pretty hilarious. But so that's going to be at 8 p.m. on Tuesday evening.
Tuesday evening. I actually will be there for that.
Awesome. I'm surprised you don't have an interview.
No, after I heard what you booked, I said, you know what? Why even bother doing an interview? No one's going to be there to watch it because they're all going to be rushing over to watch Champagne and Bullets. So I didn't even book it. I didn't even book an interview.
I certainly hope so, because it is a masterpiece of bad cinema, and we are going to we're gonna have a great time.
And what else you got going on?
That's the two big things I have planned for this week. And of course, next Sunday we have part 4. And then the week after, well, actually next Sunday, before the Midnight Society, I'm actually going to be a guest on the Video Tasties show, and we're going to be watching. I'm going to do a watch along with him. We're going to watch the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Wow! All right.
So that would be pretty fun too.
That will be very fun.
And that I think that's at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll double check, something like that.
Okay. All right. It's gonna be a busy week for this guy. Me and the Cheetah. We're dropping our Dollar Tree Theater movie on Tuesday morning. We're covering Pumpkins, and believe me, I really wish we could. I really wish we could cover up Pumpkins. About 6 feet deep. So we're watching. Yeah. Of course, Hobbs and Katie from Popping the Popcorn. They both love Pumpkins so much. They put them each in their own, movie Hall of Fame. But we did not do that. Me and the Cheetah. We took Pumpkins downstairs to the litter box. That's how bad we liked. That's how much we liked it. And then we have 2 interviews. We do have 2 interviews. Wednesday on the 16th, we have the lovely Mariah Owen will be here with us. And then on Thursday, on St. Patrick's Day, we have the return of Christy Adams from Nightmare Toys. Nice. So she will be back to come back and hang out with us on St. Patrick's Day. Then Saturday, I'm on the road. I got invited to the Gore show on Agoraphobes channel. Right. and we are going deep into Phantasm.
Nice.
Oh,
And I'll be watching for that one.
that would be, yeah. That's one of the movies that has spooked the hell out of me. So I'm really looking forward to going and talking with Keith and Drake. We're gonna go deep into Phantasm, and I can't wait for that. It's been a minute since I watched it, so I'll be rewatching it and making some notes, and probably changing my diapers while I'm at it because it'll probably scare me all over again. And then, of course, we're back here on your channel on Sunday. So for part 4.
Awesome. Yeah, nice busy week for both of us. All right. That's always good.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So I guess we're gonna get out of here, guys. And yeah. So remember, stay spooky. Come back next week for part 4, final chapter, because it's the last one, right? It's got to be. It's called the final chapter.
Yeah, they wouldn't fool us around. They wouldn't fool around with us about that, would they?
Nah, not at all.
Ka-ching. Yeah, we're money walks. Jason will talk. Want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out with us here on the Midnight Society. You guys have been awesome as always. I'm glad you guys are really enjoying the deep dive. We are really enjoying bringing it to you. This has been a lot of fun. We still got. I still think we still got 7 movies to go, or 8. 11 of them. So, yeah, we're tearing it up, and we're looking forward to next week with the Fell Dog, Tommy Jarvis. And yeah, I guess I will see you next Sunday, sir.
All right. Peace out. Stay spooky, everybody.